So Mistral AI, they didn't just drop a new model this time around.
No, not at all. They released an entire ecosystem.
Yeah, we've been looking through a mountain of sources on this, articles, notes, benchmark data. It covers this whole new lineup
Hmm.
from tiny models for your phone all the way up to frontier level stuff.
Stuff designed to compete with the biggest players, yeah.
And I think for the open weight community, the real question, the crux of it all, is about that new 14 billion parameter model. Is this the one?
The Goldilocks model, right?
Exactly, the perfect sweet spot. Is this finally the true successor to that old 12B Nemo class that everyone loved for its speed?
That is the core tension here. And our mission as we dig into these sources is really to just extract the hard truth.
So no speculation.
No, we're focused on the data, the
Yeah.
benchmarks against competitors like DeepSeek and Qwen, the API pricing, and maybe most importantly for a lot of you, can you actually run these on the hardware you already have?
Okay, let's start by unpacking the family because it seems Mistral has split their whole philosophy into two very different product lines.
They have. Same DNA,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
built for completely different jobs. You have to separate the frontier from the edge.
So what's on the frontier side?
First up is Mistral Large 3. That's the flagship, the big gun.
Okay.
It's got a colossal knowledge base. We're talking 675 billion total parameters.
Oh, that sounds massive. And massive usually means slow. So how does it even compete with something like GPT-4o on speed?
That is where the architecture comes in. It's a sparse mixture of experts model, MOE,
Right.
and that's the key. So even though it has access to all 675 billion parameters, for any given token, it only activates a tiny fraction,
How small a fraction?
about 41 billion parameters. So the significance of that for, say,
Yeah,
an enterprise client is just huge.
because you get the best of both worlds.
Exactly. You get the vast knowledge, the deep reasoning of a giant model,
Yeah.
but the inference speed and the lower cost of something much, much smaller. It's really an efficiency hack for top-tier performance.
That makes a lot of sense for the API. Okay, let's switch gears to the Ministral series. I think this is what most developers are really focused on. The 3B, 8B, and 14B.
Mm-hmm.
And the notes say these are fundamentally different. They're dense models, not MOEs, and they're multimodal native. What does that actually mean, multimodal native?
It just means that vision support wasn't sort of bolted on as an afterthought.
Yeah, okay.
It was baked in from the very beginning during pre-training. So they learned the relationship between text and images from the ground up.
Which makes them way better at handling mixed inputs.
Far better.
So these Ministral models are really designed for local use, high throughput, and very low latency. And that 14B model is aimed squarely at that high-performance local assistant niche.
Right. Running directly on your own machine.
Yep.
Okay, so performance is everything. Let's look at the benchmarks. And yeah, we know they can be gamed, but they give us a baseline. How does the big one, large 3, stack up?
The data shows it has some key advantages, especially in deep reasoning. It actually takes the lead on general knowledge. In what specific metric?
In the MMLU 8-language average, it scores an 85.5, which is really impressive. And it shines in expert reasoning, hitting 43.9 on GPQA Diamond.
But the reports do show it falling a little behind on pure coding tasks, right?
That's a fair point, yeah. It's slightly behind competitors like Kimi on Live Code Bench. But honestly, the real excitement, the thing that gives me the most confidence in this whole release is the smaller model,
The Ministral 14B.
the 14B. This is where the open source excitement is just completely justified.
It's pretty remarkable. I mean, this 14B model is posting numbers we were only seeing from huge 70 billion plus models just a year ago.
And it's directly beating very strong competitors in its weight class, like Google's Gemma 3 12B and Alibaba's Qwen 3 14B.
And this is where it gets really interesting for me, this one standout stat we pulled, the AME 25 reasoning score. Ministral 14B hits an 85.0. That is a massive lead over the Qwen 3 thinking version, which scored a 73.7.
That's more than a 10-point gap.
It's huge.
It is. And that gap points to a very clear takeaway for you if you're a developer.
Which is?
If you're building local agents that need to plan, that need to follow complex instructions without, failing the logic chain, the 14B is now the clear default choice. That 85.0 score means way fewer errors in planning.
And it was trained specifically for that kind of agentic work, wasn't it?
They've highlighted its function calling in what they call the agent mode of their chat interface, LeChat. And this fundamentally changes the game.
Okay, but what does reliable function calling actually mean for a developer's workflow, practically speaking?
It means less tedious prompt engineering.
Ah.
Yeah, historically, you've had to really struggle to get an LLM to reliably give you JSON or call the right tool. With this agent mode, the model is natively built to understand function schemas and execute them. It just reduces all that fragile wrapper code you used to need.
So it's much simpler to integrate into automated workflows.
Far simpler.
All right, let's talk practical decisions. For a business, API cost is often the tiebreaker. How aggressive is Mistral's pricing here?
They are being highly aggressive. Clearly going after B2B clients who want that premium performance without the pricing roller coaster of something like GPT-4.
So what are the numbers?
The input cost is just 50 cents per million tokens. Output is $1.50 per million tokens.
That's very competitive.
It is. And if you think about applications like org retrieval, augmented generation, it's a huge deal. They offer a massive 256K context window.
Wow.
You can now afford to stuff the equivalent of 400 pages of text into a single prompt.
And they also have the consumer-facing side, the chat, with a free tier and then paid plans. But let's look at the competition again. If you're a business choosing today between Mistral 3, DeepSeek V3, and Qwen 3, what's the deciding factor?
It really depends entirely on your main use case. They all excel in different areas.
Okay, so if my primary need is pure logic and math.
The consensus from the research suggests DeepSeek V3 still holds the crown there for pure reasoning speed.
Why is that? What's its edge?
It really comes down to its architecture. It's rumored to be heavily optimized with sparse tensors for exactly those kinds of mathematical and logical tasks. It's almost purpose-built for that vertical.
Okay, so DeepSeek for math. But what if I need personality? Creative writing, role-play scenarios, that sort of thing.
The tables turn completely. Mistral 3 shines there. The 14B model specifically is described again and again in the reports as just feeling more human.
Less robotic than something like Qwen.
Exactly. It flows much better for narrative and long-form prose.
And then there's the ultimate tiebreaker for any big company.
Privacy and sovereignty.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mistral is a French EU-based company. So for any enterprise client worried about GDPR, data sovereignty, or just avoiding US or Chinese data bias, Mistral is the safest bet. That jurisdictional advantage can be the deciding factor, even if a competitor is a fraction of a point higher on some benchmark.
Which brings us to the question every developer listening is asking right now. Can I run this on my own machine? Let's break down the hardware needs for the Ministral series.
Let's make it tangible. The Ministral 3B is, well, it's accessible to basically everyone. It'll run on a modern phone or a Raspberry Pi 5.
Okay, easy enough. What about the 8B?
The 8B is the new lightweight standard. You can run that comfortably with 8 gigs of VRAM. So think of a common card like an RTX 3070 or a 4060. You'll get great speeds.
And for the Goldilocks model, the 14B that everyone's excited about.
That requires a bit more hardware. You're going to want 12 to 16 gigs of VRAM for smooth operation with a good quantization level.
Can you just quickly explain why quantization is so important here?
Of course, it's basically essential for running these models on consumer GPUs. It's a way of compressing the model's weights.
From a higher precision to a lower one?
Exactly. From 16-bit down to, say, 4-bit or 5-bit. This lets a model that would normally need around 28 gigs of VRAM fit onto a consumer card, like an RTX 3060 12GB. You lose a tiny bit of quality for a massive savings in memory.
So it runs well on those cards?
It runs beautifully on those. Or even on a 16GB Mac with unified memory.
Yeah.
As long as you close Chrome.
Of course. And the flagship, Large 3.
Don't try it at home. It's an enterprise cluster model. Purely API, only for 99% of people.
Got it. So let's assume I have that 12 gigs of VRAM for the 14B model. What are the easiest ways to get it running right now?
The sources lay out 3 great methods. The first and easiest is Ollama.
The command line tool.
Right. It's the gold standard for easy local inference. You install it, open a terminal, and type one simple command. Ollama run Ministral 3.14b. It handles everything for you.
And if I don't love the command line and prefer a GUI?
Then you go with LM Studio. It's fantastic for visual users. You just search for Ministral 3, pick the quantization that fits your VRAM, and you can visually tweak all the parameters.
And the third option, for developers building production apps.
For them, it's vLLM. It's designed for high-throughput applications that need serious speed. You install it, run a serve command, and it instantly exposes an OpenAI-compatible API server on your local machine.
So you can just plug the local 14B model directly into your web apps.
Using code you're already familiar with.
So when we put this all together, what does it really mean for the open weight ecosystem?
I think it means Mistral 3 is a definitive statement that Open weights are not just playing catch-up anymore. They are carving out their own very competitive lane.
Defined by efficiency and accessibility.
Exactly. And the 14B model is the true intelligent replacement for that old 12B model everyone loved. It perfectly balances size and intelligence, and crucially, it adds that native vision support that was missing.
The benchmarks look great on paper, but as the source material makes clear, the real proof is seeing it run on your own silicon.
Which really raises an important question for you to think about. As you spin up this 14B model, or maybe you're looking at their API, consider this.
Given that this new massive 256K context window is now available at such a competitive price, how will that change how small businesses design their applications? Is the technical barrier to entry for truly powerful context-aware agents? Is that barrier now effectively gone for the average developer?